Hey guys, what's up? It's Thomas. Today we're back here with just Scorcher, and today another boss countdown with top 10 personal bosses. So I don't know if this is like his favorite person or bosses that just take things personal with the players or characters. I don't know. I guess we're about to find out. So be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's check it out.
Well,
Oh hey, kids next door. Cool.
Only this time
It's personal.
How
You're
can it be personal? You've never even met the guy.
In my
Fair
mind,
enough.
there are two major components to making a good boss fight. One, how well the boss plays. Two, how well the boss themes tie into the fight. Many of the best ones accomplish this by giving you a personal connection with them. Maybe they're a long-time rival. Maybe they're someone who's caused you trouble throughout the story. Maybe they're a former ally turned traitor. Whatever the reason, these
We're
are the
about to
bosses
find
that
it.
affect the player character on a personal level.
Yep, here it is. Basically, things get personal here. There we go. I need to change that to a top 10. Not sure why it's 5. Here we go. Let's start it up.
The DLC for Scarlet and Violet came with a lot of
Kieran,
divided
right?
opinions, none more so than the sibling duo of Carmine and Kieran. People either love both, hate both, or adore one and loathe the other.
Okay,
Sounds
I'm not
right.
sure I like you.
I
Yeah.
Do not like this woman. There are
Get a test.
genocidal
Let's prick.
maniacs in Pokemon that I despise less than you.
Wow.
Oh, you are such a
Okay,
idiot.
before you ask, I don't think I got there, so...
Grant it to me now.
Not everything is about you, you narcissistic.
Yikes! You said the B word. Oy, oy, oy.
So, Josh, will Carmen go anywhere on your hated characters you're supposed to like list?
Pretty much.
Probably somewhere.
Yeah, definitely on the main
It's
list.
not exactly hidden how I feel about Carmine, but to be fair, the TL Mask got some truly awful writing, and both siblings
Yeah.
are victims of it.
Oof.
TLDR, the characters acted in reasonable, if somewhat short-sighted ways, and then the plot bent over backward to make Kieran right when he had no right to be. And I'll always be salted that we didn't have the option to tell Kieran the truth, even if we were interrupted somehow. And then we get to the Indigo disc, and oh boy, does Kieran change. He goes from a somewhat
Yeah,
timid
even I would've been
to
like-
tyrant, terrorizing everyone at Blueberry Academy with his status as champion. Even Carmine seems to be genuinely afraid
That's
of her
bad.
little brother. Kieran has claimed the role of your rival and has dedicated his everything to surpassing you. We spend a large part of the DLC climbing up the ranks of the Blueberry Elite Four, each of them 110% done with his shenanigans. Not sure why this was the plan, but it's apparently what Dragon Toothpaste wanted, so here we
Yeah.
are. As for the fight itself, the Indigo Disc has a gimmick. All the battles are
Oh,
fought
yeah,
in
double
the
battles.
VGC format of double battles. This added level of complexity is only the tip of the iceberg for why Champion Kieran is such an amazing fight. His team is composed of a Drizzle Politoed, a Normal Terra Extreme Speed Dragonite, an Intimidated Incineroar, a Hydropple with an Assault Vest,
Wow.
a Prankster, Dual Screens Grimmsnarl, and a Porygon Z. In particular, the Politoed and Dragonite are built to work together, with Dragonite knowing Thunder and Hurricane,
Oh.
two inaccurate moves that become 100% accurate under the rain that Politoed sets up. Politoed also
So
has
basically,
Helping Hand
take out that
and
Politoed fast, clear the rain, or otherwise you're
Set
screwed.
by 50%. Let me put that into context. Normal Terra and Helping Hand, Extreme Speed effectively becomes 180 power. That's a strong
70.
teeny signature V-Create, but doesn't
Yeah,
lower
not
your
good.
speed, special defense, and defense, is 100% accurate, and is priority. It's also coming off Dragonite's 134 base attack stat compared to Victini's base 100. Yeah, this thing hurts. Now, while this team could make a few adjustments to make it actually VGC worthy, it's not far off. Incineroar has been a staple of VGC since it got the Intimidate ability. Normal Terra Dragonite with a Choice Band and Extreme Speed has been a terror in VGC this generation. Yeah, this team being in the low 80s also makes this a respectable challenge, even for a team of level 100s. All this is to say, Kieran definitely is a fantastically tough trainer, and even when you beat him, he doesn't fully go back to how he was before. He still sees you as his arch nemesis. He's almost like a dark hop now that I think about it. Now, saying all
I mean,
this,
you still
why
feel
is he so
bad
low
for
on the
Kieran.
list?
Like,
A big
seriously.
part of it is that Kieran
Not
only
his
becomes
fault.
so obsessed with
I blame
us
the game
as
here.
part of us being forced to lie to him.
Pretty
Another
much.
reaction
Like,
on his
why?
part? Yes, but
Understandable in a
rivalry
way,
is
but
very
still, I
personal.
blame the writers.
Wish we had more control over it. Like
Agree.
Arceus forbid we have role playing in an RPG.
What? Role-playing in my role-playing game? They really should have put some kind of warning label somewhere.
There's also the
Not
slight
cool.
issue of most of Kieran's fights with the player having this, for me, it was a Tuesday vibe. It didn't start
Ouch.
out personal, but as time marched on, it got very personal. Especially
Not
how
by our
desperate
control.
He came with Terapagos.
Sheesh.
It's also hysterical that Nemona completely trashes him in the epilogue.
Ouch.
She was actually easier.
Yeah, no kidding. I feel bad for Kieran, too. Anyway, 9.
Mankind is dead. Blood.
Ultra kill.
Hell is
It's
full.
fuel.
These are the words that greet you when you first boot up
Here it
Ultra
comes.
Kill. Ultra Kill combines the aggressive old-school boomer shooter gameplay
AKA
following the
Doom.
likes of Doom with a Dante's Inferno flair to create something truly special. You play as V1, the greatest in a line of combat machines that are powered not by any standard resource like oil or gas or solar, but
Nope.
by blood. With your voracious appetite for more than
yummy,
criminals
yummy.
and ichor, you and your robotic kind have rendered the Earth devoid of life. And now I've turned to the
Thanks a
depths
lot.
of hell for seconds. Now, there were 2 big choices for this list. One of them
Mm-hmm.
was V2, your younger sibling in a sense, who's basically the Virgil to your Dante.
Wouldn't that be a mirror match, though?
Yes, because the colors are swapped. The thing is, neither talk. So it's really
So,
left to the
no
audience
dice?
to how they see each other, which can extend to a serious, bitter rivalry to...
That.
Yeah, whatever that was.
Stomp.
So instead of V2, let's look at the other rival, the Judge of Hell, the Archangel
Gabriel.
voiced
Ooh.
by the meme legend himself, Gianni Matrigano.
It was me, Barry.
Oh,
First encountered Gabriel
Nice.
in the quite literal bowels of the Gluttony layer,
Oof.
who's watched you and your ilk butcher
Machine,
your way
turn
through
back
the
now.
previous layers and demands in a holier-than-thou voice that you turn back and leave. For venturing
Nope.
any further is crossing the will of God, and to do that is to invoke the wrath of his righteous hand. Of course, you ignore his warnings and
Blech.
press on, being face-to-face with Gabe, and he is aggressive. Wonder why. You have to be constantly on the move to avoid his attacks, all the while he preaches to you about your innate unholiness and how your evil makes even the devil cry. Oh, I get it. But this isn't
may
the
cry.
fight that gets Gabe on the list.
Oh.
No, no, no. For after you defeat Gabriel, something
We'll see him again.
awakens in him. As he trudges his way back to heaven in disbelief and shame, it's revealed that God
council?
is
Gone.
no longer in charge, having disappeared quite a while ago.
Huh.
In his stead is the corrupt and draconian Council of Heaven. Now, Gabriel
Great.
doesn't like this council, and they don't like him. Owing to his father's disappearance, Gabe has some...
Daddy issues.
So with
Yep.
Gabriel's failures, the council shuns him and cuts him off from God's holy light. Cut to the heresy layer in Act 2, and we see just what this has done to Gabriel's
Hey,
psyche.
coming.
And you find him playing a very dramatically placed pipe organ. Respect.
Hello, villain trope.
Approach him, and it's very clear that Gabriel isn't just mad. He's absolutely
Loathes
livid.
your soul.
Machine, I will cut you down, break you apart, sway the core of your profane form across the stars. I will grind you down into the very swamps of life and mercy. My hands shall relish, ending you here and
Yep. Apostate of hate.
Christened as the apostate of hate. If you thought
I mean,
Gabriel
consider
was
what we
aggressive
did to him.
before,
Can you blame him?
Gabe 2 is ludicrously fast and wants your GoPro-looking head on a pike. Get to a
Yep.
second phase, and Gabriel in the background go from the sinister blood red to a more angelic and pure blue.
So basically,
Almost like Gabriel
almost
is
like,
controlling
let go of
his
the hate.
anger, harnessing it,
Or that.
focusing it. Defeat him, and Gabriel is left sprawled out, tasting his own blood for the first time, and still reeling from the adrenaline. As are we. With just 2 fights, we see Gabriel absolutely transform from this infallible paragon of virtue to a bloodthirsty
battle
berserker
maniac.
thrilled by combat and his own hatred, to a solemn and regretful warrior who realizes his own folly and the hand he played and how things played out. It's a starting and very well
Yeah, it looks
executed
like he actually
series of
only
events
killed-
shows the
killed the
degradation of this
council,
angel's
too.
sanity and morality. Really, only 2 things are holding Gabriel back from getting any higher. One is that
We're not
Ultra
done
Kill
yet?
is still technically in early access and the
Really?
plot isn't finished. 2, and much more pressing,
Huh.
it's pretty one-sided. Sure, Gabriel's life is irreversibly sent into chaos by V1 and the machines, but V1 doesn't speak or express any emotion or character. Whether the feeling is mutual is
hard to tell.
up for debate. Still, Gabriel's boss fights are crazy, and in an ironic sense,
I wonder where this
becomes
story goes.
just as violent as the machines he claimed to hate. Look, it's a satire of Christianity. There's
Yeah,
gonna be
you gotta
themes of
expect that.
hypocrisy.
Yeah, just like an Aspen Hotel. Expect. Ooh, number 8.
In a way, the Fiendish Five
Oh,
all
I
played a
think
major
we know
part
where
in
this
shaping
goes.
Sly Cooper's
Clockwork.
future when they
Come
banded
on.
together to kill the young raccoon's parents and steal pieces from his family heirloom, the Thievius Raccoonus. However, one of the 5
one
has been a
more left.
constant figure in the
Big
Cooper
boss
clan's history
himself.
for centuries, hunting them as far back as the days of ancient Egypt. Maybe even further than that.
You sentimental fool. Empathy has always been the downfall of the Cooper clan.
Clockwork is the leader of the Fiendish Five, a malicious, monstrous mechanical owl
Yep.
whose petty hatred and jealousy of the Cooper clan has kept him alive for centuries.
Centuries.
Well, that and replacing your entire body with machine parts probably didn't hurt either.
Mostly
But
the
now
H-chip, I think.
the owl, fueled by his desire to kill the last of the Cooper clan and claim his title as the greatest thief of all time.
Honestly, I don't even know who came up with this. I'm huge, how am I supposed to sneak around?
You've taken out
Yeah.
the rest of the gang and braved your way to Clockwork's volcanic lair. After powering through robotic falcons, a death ray,
Yeah,
a
a lot
gas
of
chamber,
minigames.
and a surprise truce with Carmelita Fox, it's time to clip all Big
Yep,
Bird's
hi, Jeff.
wings. Using Carmelita's jetpack, you take to the sky and pursue Clockwork in a dogfight, avoiding his beams and waiting
Whoop.
for an opening to shoot his weak spots until
Down.
he plummets into the lava. But of course,
We're
he's
not done yet.
Would he be? Phase 2, he starts shooting electrified rings at
Whoa.
you while you continue to dodge and shoot. Finally, in Phase 3, it's time to put your acrobatics to the test. Make it through a perilous
More
obstacle
platform
course,
again.
dodging lasers and sensors
Ooh.
of all kinds, then wail into Clockwork's
Hello.
head. Make him feel the hurt he made you feel when he took your
Come
family
here, boy.
away from you.
Woo!
Oh, yeah, get the pages for the book.
Yeah, and your family book.
While I like Clockwork, I can't see myself ranking this one any higher. The build up to the fight in the level is mostly mini game after mini game.
Yeah.
The boss fight is fine as is, but I really don't care for the jetpack. It started out so promising, but then it fell to the cliche side-to-side tennis match.
Pretty much.
Regardless, Clockwork's
Until you can
extended history
strike
and
back.
mysterious past make him a worthy contender for our favorite ring-tailed thief. And even after you defeat him for good, his legacy continues to haunt our heroes when a new team of baddies steals his scattered
Claw gang?
remains. The worst part is that even post-death, this winged nightmare still
Ooh.
finds a way to hurt the Cooper clan in one way or another.
Poor
You
Bentley.
will never be rid of me. Clockwork is superior.
Honestly, yeah, no, he's done. Don't worry. Come 2. Once that, that hate chip, which basically fueled his immortality, bye-bye. Yeah, he basically ran on pure fear and rage to keep himself youthful. Not kidding. So, actually, now I think about it, you think, say, Clockwork could have shown up in, Thieves in Time? I can imagine, the Time Gang's, shenanigans, changing the past to suit their needs to, wouldn't that basically just bring back Clockwork? It seems kind of dumb. Would have made an interesting game, but oops. Guess not. I don't even know what. Would have been kind of cool if Clockwork actually did come back for Thieves in Time, but whoops. Anyway, moving along. Sorry, I just thought I pointed out. Number 7.
I've talked about Mega Man Star
Ooh.
Force a couple of times, so let's
We have a little
actually look at
release
what
of
the
that.
game has in store. Considering it stars one of the most depressed protagonists of all time, it's already a huge
lost
departure
his
from the otherwise
dad.
bright
Can you
and
blame him?
cheery setting we're familiar with from Battle Network. But it's not just a creative decision, mind you. There's a lot of substance here. Geo Stellar is a boy who's been grieving from the shock of losing his father. He struggled to go to school or make friends for 3 whole years as a result. However, he gained a spark of incentive from not only the support of a really based teacher, but also the curiosity of a newfound friend. This is Patrick Spriggs.
Hi,
He seems
Spriggs.
like a mellow guy who legitimately wishes to connect with Gio at first. After all, they both have a history of depression and trauma. In Pat's case, he was abandoned by his parents as a baby, and the thought of being betrayed at such a young age lingers with him so much that it never stops hurting him. This caused him to develop a split personality called Ray, who is a much more violent version. Ray pressures Pat into teaming up with the villain Gemini in an effort to get the revenge on the parents who abandoned them. This leads to Pat unwillingly taking advantage of Gio's fragile trust and luring him to where he could be threatened to surrender the Andromeda Key. That's
Basically
when
Doomsday
Gemini's
Call.
spark is revealed. Considering how each boss in the game is tied to a certain theme regarding their characters, it's interesting how Gemini is utilized to explore a character suffering from multiple personality disorder. Despite being two minds in one head, they're bent on severing the bonds between people because they, ironically, can only count on each other to believe how meaningless those connections are. And the fact that they personally attacked Gio, who was just about to grow out of his reclusion and learn to trust people again.
Patrick, you betrayed me.
As a
Very
boss,
much.
Gemini Spark isn't anything too complex, just a standard lightning boss that you can take down efficiently with wood-based attacks. But it's interesting how Pat's invulnerability protects Ray, showing just how much he's been shielding his other self. After the fight, Gio and Pat sever their ties.
Youch.
Gio couldn't handle the betrayal, and Pat is sad to see that no matter what he did, he couldn't convince Gio to understand his situation. Both of them are really tragic dilemmas, but are nowhere near ready to face them head on and accept each other. Fortunately, the two do reconcile, albeit quickly when Pat protects Gio from a revived Gemini later on and joins in to help bring Gio back to Earth after his final battle. Still, this whole situation is a brutally realistic take on the dilemma of acceptance. And with how it's handled, we can't help but sympathize with both Gio and Pat. Their flaws and uncontrollable upbringing are so well portrayed that it might just be the peak of what this series has achieved when it comes to tackling serious, grounded subjects like these. Oh, this is Mega Man, by the way. The same franchise that gave us Wily, Sigma, and Redips will go on to spawn this. For real, you get the right cooks in the kitchen, you could turn a franchise into something truly special. Which,
But go too far and goodbye.
for the sequels as well. They
Womp
then
womp.
put this character on the shelf and not develop him anymore.
Years of academy training wasted.
Pretty much. Poor Star Force. Had some potential, but slipped. Oopsie.
In both story and gameplay, the Chozos
Oh,
are your greatest
Raven Beak,
ally
of
throughout
course.
the Metroid franchise.
Oh, I played the
Whereas
game. I know who it
Woodbane
is.
weren't all dead.
I'm dead.
They
Dick.
raised Samus after the death of her parents at the hands of Ridley, as well as provided her with key upgrades to her arsenal from beyond
On
the
the
grave.
grave.
So it's only fitting that one of them would eventually be her enemy. First teased rather disturbingly in Samus Returns,
Oh.
Raven Beak is the
There he
main
is.
villain
Hi.
of Dread and the direct catalyst for a pretty big chunk of the franchise. As it turns out, Raven Beak is the guy responsible for the eponymous Metroids being released.
Oh.
He's straight up slaughtered all but one of his tribe just so he could use them as a potential army. In addition, he's the previously unknown genetic donor of Samus's Chozo DNA. So
Basically,
yeah,
Papa.
Samus is fighting her dad, or one of them at least.
Daddy issues.
There we go.
In the
Number
present
2.
day, he plans to use Samus's newly awakened Metroid powers to create his own personal army. In their first confrontation, he utterly wipes the floor with her.
Bye-bye.
Throughout the game, Ravenbeak has been secretly manipulating Samus, and the player by
And Adam.
extension, by pretending to be Adam. Though, given he was always going on about how powerful and unstoppable Ravenbeak
Yeah,
is,
should have been
makes too much
obvious.
sense in retrospect.
Dad's not here, which is a shame, because he's such a handsome fellow. With
Hey, Bluey.
Big, strong muscles.
The actual boss fight itself is one of the series' best. Ravenbeak is an epic 3-phase battle that will truly test all the abilities and skills you've gained throughout the journey. His own arsenal is comparable to yours, with his
Pretty
own
much.
array of beams, projectiles, and physical strikes. It's hard as hell, but gosh dang, is it
Worth
it? Things seemingly go sour when he has Samus on the ropes
Had
again,
trouble
but her Metroid
him.
powers fully awakening allows her to finally beat him.
And the Metroid
in one
armor,
of the
too.
most
Woof.
effing metal moments in a Nintendo game.
Pretty much. so much absorption. Right in the face, too. Ouch.
Oh, and having him be defeated by one of the X-parasites he released is a perfect cherry of irony on top.
And goodbye.
I just realized, if Ravenbeak was disguised as Adam, maybe it was him messing around with Samus and Other M. Hey, it's an explanation I'm happy with.
Maybe. Could be. She was pretty trusting of him. Anyway.
Portal
Next.
2 is a fine example of a sequel that surpasses its predecessor.
I think I can
At
get
least,
who.
according to
Wheatley?
most people. It gives us more puzzles than the
Can't be
original,
GLaDOS.
more game mechanics, more lore,
Maybe?
and of
Let's see.
course, more characters. These new additions to
Ah,
the
there you
cast
are, Wheatley.
include
Hey, buddy.
An Aperture Science personality sphere. He serves as
Hello.
a foil to our main character Chell, and his personality is that of a literal British goofball. Huh. I don't get the feeling
British
it's like
comedy,
the
everybody.
UK version of The Office. Yeah, probably my imagination. Wheatley helps Chell attempt
Ouch.
to escape from Aperture Science a second time after we were put back in suspension at the end of the first game. Between
Dick
his
move,
witty
GLaDOS.
banter and
Dick
overall
move.
helpfulness,
Had to
it's
say
easy
it.
to form a bond with the little guy, especially as he tells us all about the old caretaker who chopped up his entire staff of robots and how he almost got a job in manufacturing. But our adventure with him sadly must end. And after we give him control of Aperture Science, he kind of
Bye-bye.
lets us go.
What? Hey, why we go back down?
I did this. Tiny little Wheatley did this.
Wheatley, what are you doing?
You know what you are?
What?
Selfish. I've done nothing but sacrifice to get us here. And what have you sacrificed? Nothing.
Buddy, what are you doing?
Dude?
Could a moron punch you into this pit? Ah!
Well, as Michaela would say, come on, Wheatley, I thought we were cool. Ah!
Okay, that did not just happen.
So it turns
Yep.
out that Wheatley was designed to be an intelligence dampening sphere meant to keep GLaDOS from getting too smart for her own good.
Oops.
Unfortunately, this realization causes Wheatley to snap and become another antagonist for GLaDOS and Chell to put out of commission.
Son of a bitch.
What is my purpose?
You're a moron.
Yep, moron.
Oh my god.
After being put through a stream of Wheatley's tests and him trying to kill us, we're eventually able to make it
To his lair.
As I said back in Top 10 AI bosses, Wheatley and GLaDOS' boss fights are mirrors of each other. Instead of removing Course, our job is to attach them to him, corrupting him in the same way he was designed to hamper GLaDOS. At first, it seems hopeless because of the lack of portal surfaces. However, once you break the conversion gel pipe, all you have to do is use your portals to launch his own bombs at him, stunning him long enough to corrupt him. However, the blast shields that he comes equipped with definitely provide an extra challenge. It's worth pointing out that throughout this experience, Wheatley's personality doesn't change. Even though he wants us dead, he doesn't come across as truly evil. It's a similar degradation of sanity that Gabriel goes through in Ultra Kill. Yes, we have to put him out of commission.
that old
or Aperture
power
goes boom, but
wording
you can't help
of
but remember
absolute
the good
power
times
corrupts
he had with your
absolutely.
Jolly old chap as he starts reminiscing.
You never caught me. I told you I could die. Falling off that rail, you didn't catch me. You didn't even try.
This makes his last desperate pleas to grab him as he's sucked out into space. It's kind of haunting. Wheatley is definitely an example of how one
And
can
again,
build a personal
bad for
connection
Wheatley
with
here.
the one they must destroy in the end. The only reason he's not any higher is that while his betrayal arc is downright tragic, it technically happens by accident. Neither him nor the player were aware what his true purpose was, and that he wasn't meant to possess such power as taking over an entire testing facility. And the realization of that was what ultimately pushed him against us. But still, if we had given the little guy a second chance, who knows?
Should we take it all back?
He did say he was sorry afterwards. Maybe he could have gotten that manufacturing job after all. Or a job with Valve.
I heard they're hiring!
Pretty much. Jeez. Not trusting Valve anymore. Anyway, hopefully.
I really haven't talked about Ghost of Tsushima enough, have I? Let's
Speaking
fix
of which,
that.
here it comes.
Ghost of Tsushima. Sucker Punch's glorious return was more than worth the wait. It's the Assassin's Creed set in feudal Japan we've always wanted, but Ubisoft wouldn't give to us.
Well,
Equally
we are
as
now,
impressive as the brilliant
but
hybrid of
still,
both open
better
world
late
and
than never, I
stealth
guess.
is the
We saw this, even if
sad
the
story.
Assassin's Creed
Jin
one flops.
Sakai is a classically
Jin.
trained samurai whose world is shattered when the Mongols invade Japan. Quickly realizing his honorable ways are no match for the unrelenting force of his enemies, Jin is forced to abandon his beliefs in favor of brutal, underhanded pragmatism. Of course, such a radical change in ideology isn't going to go over well with everyone, particularly Lord Shimura,
Yep.
who happens to be Jin's uncle and his main father.
Shimura.
You guessed it, more
Daddy
issues.
He's the one most
Yeah,
opposed
how many others
to
could it
Jin's
be?
shift from honorable samurai ways to doing whatever it takes to defeat the enemy. And yeah, it's not too surprising he feels that way. Jin resorts to some pretty nasty skullduggery throughout the story, including poisoning his enemies who die in very unsettling ways. On the other hand, Shimura's unwillingness to change his ways isn't much better. Given the time and setting, sometimes you're stuck between two bad decisions, and one of them involves killing people in a dishonorable and maybe inhumane way. By the end, Jin's tactics both work and don't work.
Watch.
On one hand, if Jin fought the Mongols like a samurai, he ultimately would have lost. On the other hand, Jin strayed so far into the darkness of the ghost persona that the Mongols eventually reverse-engineered his poison and used it against the samurai. Now, Japan ultimately winds up being successful in defeating the Mongols. However, there's no happy ending in sight. Having completely gone against everything the samurai stand for, Jin's been branded as a traitor, and Shimura has been ordered to kill him. With one last sequence of meditation, the battle begins. Since this is a traditional honorable samurai duel, both Jin and Shimura are on an equal playing field. The various tools you've utilized throughout your journey are absent.
Yep, no use here. Good luck.
Fairly. Shimura is your equal, and there are no cheap tactics employed by him. Just one last test to bring your journey to a close. Afterwards, you're given the choice of whether to honor Shimura's wish for death or let him live. I'd say I put it pretty well in my stream.
It is as you said, Uncle.
I have no honor.
Have no honor.
Nice.
Not many final bosses we've talked about so far. This might well be a remake.
I think we know who's coming up. Yeah, honestly, that line he did, I mean, dude, that would have been awesome if they added the you're right, Dunkel. I have no honor. And now you can live with the shame. I don't know. Honestly, I think I would have killed him for the honor, but, you know. Or, I don't know. What would you guys do? Would you kill him? Would you spare him? Let me know. I mean, either way, we're dead anyway. Well, final 3. Let's wrap this list up.
That's the dance of brotherly
love. What's up?
Virgil and Dante. How many times can I gush about this rivalry? Not enough, honestly. Considering their sibling squabbles are some of the best parts of the Devil May Cry franchise. Twin brothers separated by fate and their conflicting beliefs. Virgil embraced his more demonic heritage, while Dante grasped onto his humanity. This ongoing beef has lasted.
What makes the question? What do you think would have happened if they didn't split up?
Across blades
How do you
multiple
think things
times.
would have turned out?
Many
times.
in fact. Sometimes you didn't even know they did.
Oops.
These battles never felt too personal, and it was clear neither intended to kill the other. However, years and years of buildup come to a head in DMC5, and Dante must confront the storm for the final
Wasn't there a mod that he got a share?
shall die.
I am the storm that is approaching.
Nice.
The fact that this moment became a freaking meme shows he.
Can you blame him? It's awesome.
Being as
The
stubborn
ultimate
as ever,
emo
Virgil says
song,
that
I
if Dante
guess you could
wants
say.
his Yamato,
Or just
he's gonna have
edgelord.
to take it by force. So the two go at it for one last duel to the death.
Here we go.
The winner gets
The
all
true
the
forms
marbles,
of both
and
blades.
Big Bro
Woo!
ain't holding back this time.
Nope.
He's fast, precise, and a beast with that blade. He can dive bomb you from the sky and even summon a duplicate to double team you. And of course, his Sin Devil trigger. It's hard to follow his movements, but not impossible, which makes the brothers feel more evenly matched. For his Devil trigger, you just have to wait until it runs out, then pace yourself. But of course, before either of them can deal the finishing blow, Nero, Virgil's son, interrupts and decides to spend a little
That's enough of
quality
that.
time with his old man. Something.
Daddy issues.
There you go.
This gag
That's
is
four.
getting way more mileage than it should be.
I mean, it makes sense in a way. I mean, to look at it.
Final boss of the
Sheesh.
game, and to date, the franchise as a whole. He and Dante's rivalry is freaking legendary. And while the conflict
True.
was pretty personal, fighting your twin and your own son, it didn't feel very malicious. Virgil's stubborn and butts heads with anyone standing in his way. he mellowed out over time, partly thanks to the revelation of Nero, and he does respect his brother, enough to wonder how things would have played out if their positions were reversed.
That day, if our positions were switched, would our fates be different? Would I have your life and you mine?
I know he's being wistful, but it also feels kind of bitter. Meanwhile, Dante
I mean,
just
in a
wants
way,
to
they've been
seal
at it
the
for
deal that
many,
Nero
many
wants his
years,
family
so
to stop trying to
kinda
kill
look back
each
at
other.
you.
At the time of this video, the twin story ends with them sealed away in the underworld.
For now.
destined to
They'll eventually
continue
get
their
out.
back
Come
and
on.
forth dueling for probably all of eternity. But this time, feels a lot more chill and playful. Honestly,
True.
I don't know if I can think of a better fate for two of the best rivals in gaming.
I mean, if they do go back to Devil May Cry, what do you think would happen? Let me know. Well, I'm curious now.
Handsome Jack.
Ah.
It's cute that y'all think you're the heroes of this little adventure, but you're not.
Well, welcome to Pandora, kiddos.
Jack had to be here. Gearbox's
Tough.
legendary antagonist is infamous for how much he makes you want to punch his plastic face in with constant
I probably want to
jabs at you,
strangle him.
being a near omnipresent force in Borderlands 2. Everywhere
Like,
you
not
look,
even
you
bother
see
with
this
them all
man's
along, just,
influence tainting
bye,
the
bitch.
land and destroying everyone's lives. Somehow making life on Pandora even worse. Let's run through the list of
bad.
everything Hyperion
When you make
CEO does
Pandora
throughout the
worse, you
second
know you're
game.
doing something
Heck,
wrong.
Let's run some of his
Or, right, depends how you look at
accomplishments
it.
in a pre-sequel for good measure.
Cool.
Handsome
Listen.
Jack does
This.
A,
One.
burns New Haven from the first game to the ground and
Dick
slaughters
move.
everyone there, Helena Pierce included, nearly killing the first Vault Hunters and causing a rift between them.
Damn.
B, enslaves his siren daughter like a living battery to the point where she considers death a mercy to manipulate every Vault Hunter into awakening the Destroyer and giving him access to Iridium where he can run a monopoly on it. C, Chokin poisons the landscape of Iridium, getting his daughter hooked on it and performing horrific experiments on the fauna and citizenry of Pandora, including Bloodwing, Creek,
Bloodwing.
and Tina's family. D, labels everybody who doesn't kowtow to Hyperion's rule a bandit and continues to slaughter without remorse, even holding his own workers' lives and families at ransom so nobody even thinks about leaving his safe havens.
Yeah,
E,
5.
literally strangles his way to the top of the corporate ladder, killing innocent scientists at the slightest hint there could be a mole.
That's
and
it.
So his first order of business is to gain Hyperion's deepest secrets and immediately order the death of every claptrap unit, even personally shooting the one that worked so hard to please him.
Jesus.
Yeah, calling Jack a monster is absolutely
What a dick.
underselling his insane megalomania. He causes so much pain and misery, all for the sake of his own self-importance and ego, taunting you all the while. So once you manage to shut down Control Core Angel and free his daughter from his abuse, Jack drops all pretenses and really comes down
Shows
there
up
to
and
kill
boom.
Roland and force Lilith to take her place in awakening the apocalyptic warrior, which he wants to use to burn Pandora to the ground. Now he shifts, and now the hatred is
full.
mutual. Without his daughter, Jack's taunts become less jokes and gleeful psychopathy.
Hey, how did Freckles suck? How's your day been, buddy? We haven't really talked much since I left you for dead.
And now turn into dark,
not
personal
cool.
threats that he will take away everything you love, just as you did to him.
What's that saying? Don't pick a fight with a man with nothing left to lose. See, I'm gonna show you just how much you have to lose. And I got the most powerful siren on the planet to do it with.
So what are your objectives for the final mission? To find Jack and
end him.
This. After fighting through everything Hyperion throws at you in Heroes Pass, you meet Jack at the Vault of the Warrior as he's charging the Vault Key, breaking into an unhinged rant about how bandits have been a plague, how he's the true savior of Pandora, and how he's going to avenge his daughter personally. And well,
The
through
daughter
his fight,
he never
you
loved,
see
by
just
the
how
way.
much of a coward he is. It's tough, yeah, but Jack opts to pull out digital clones of himself while he stays healthy beneath his shield. It speaks more to his character about how Jack stayed
Doesn't
in his
try to
ivory
fight
tower, never
one-on-one,
bothering himself with
just
anyone
hides behind
until they
a shield like a coward.
threatened him. And as you leave him bloodied on the floor, Jack manages to charge the Vault Key and rants about how, despite everything, he's won. and he sticks his new pet Calamity on you. Of course, being a
Yep,
Vault
time
Hunter,
to
you're
wrap it
packing
up.
enough
Come on.
firepower to take down the warrior, and Jack is left dying, having truly lost, and rants one final time, holding on to his delusion still that he's a hero, and you are nothing but a lowly bandit. And the game gives you a choice. Do you shut him up early, not even giving him the
Lucian
chance
Fairfax,
to finish his
vengeance,
mad
bye-bye.
ramblings? Do you let him finish and kill him yourself? Or do you give Lilith the honors, letting her get the satisfaction of avenging Roland herself? Whatever you choose,
All on
Jack
you.
is silenced. His reign is over, and you can see his scarred, unmasked face reflecting the ugly monster he was inside. Everything in Borderlands 2 builds to this fight. Every moment you're reminded of the horrors and crimes Jack has committed and just how far his reach stretches. So finally killing him, it
Feels good.
good.
Vindication.
An entire game built up to this moment. Now, what if an entire series did the same?
Ooh, let's see what you got. Okay, the honorable mentions. Let's see what's on there.
Emerald Sonic Battle. The pathos surrounding this fight is intense, but you can beat it
Yeah,
just
nope.
by spamming
Bye-bye.
one move. Waterblight Ganon, Zelda. She was going.
This one's
to
Josh's
success.
personal one.
And you
Murder
murdered her!
Hi, Misery.
Riku, 358 Days Over 2 would be on the list if Days Combat didn't suck. Silver Snow Edelgard, Fire Emblem Three Houses. Screw you. This route was fun and the drama was great.
Fair.
Dixon, Xenoblade Chronicles. He took you in and raised you like a son, only to shoot you and revive the god he served.
Wow.
Daddy
Does that even count?
Hollow Knight from
Hollow
Hollow
Knight.
Knight. Both knights cast aside by
That's 6.
serve a
Sheesh,
purpose
how many are there?
neither of you understood.
Oh, wow, that's a brutal #1 background. Yeesh.
When it comes to big climactic showdowns,
Liquid
no one
Snake,
could do
or
them
Ocelot
quite
in
like
this
the
case.
Metal Gear franchise. Every game has some huge
Everything
final
gets
fight
personal.
that is topped by the game after it. At least it was, until Metal Gear Solid 4. Now, explaining the lore behind Metal Gear Solid 4 Final Fight will take forever. Like, I'd have to go over Big Boss, The Boss, Solid Snake. Wait, I said this before. Oh, oops. I had the script for Brawler bosses up. That's silly. Man.
Really?
You should watch that one. Very funny joke in that section, too. Here we are. Liquid Snake,
Okay.
Solidus Snake, Nordid Snake.
What?
Gosh,
What?
it's the same script. Right? Did my writers literally just
hi.
copy the script from Brawler bosses?
I mean, to be fair, Josh, you do a lot of boss countdowns, and you have a
True, they
tendency
tend to overlap.
use a lot of the same bosses over and over, to the point
Fair.
that a lot of them
Predictable?
start to blur together. So really, is it that surprising that your writers would say reuse entries from old scripts to, say, speed up the creative process?
I mean, twice a month, can you blame
You
him?
might use the same entries over and over and over and over, but that doesn't mean we use the same script. Shame on you all. Shame on you. Again! Snake versus Ocelot
Redo.
is a fight that had an entire series building up to it.
There you go.
Ever since Revolver Ocelot was introduced in Metal Gear Solid 1 and its connection to Big Boss was revealed, the legacy of these two characters eventually had to clash in one way or another. And they did. A lot.
Big time.
Liquid Snake versus Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid 1. Metal Gear Solid 2 was there. Ocelot versus Naked Snake from 3. You can even use the development the two shared from Metal Gear Solid 5. Ignoring the lore from that game that technically ruins it, but we're not going down
Ignore that.
rabbit hole. No.
Best to ignore.
One rabbit hole we can go down is how our current combatants represent their pasts. Old Snake is the older version of Solid and the son of Naked Snake. Throughout Metal Gear Solid 4, he encountered many legacies left by his father.
Daddy is
No! And
That's number
inadvertently
7.
took them upon himself
Jeez,
as he was
lucky
trying
number
to
7 there.
complete his mission. As for Liquid, it is Ocelot's body, but he used suggestion and hypnosis to place Liquid's personality and memories onto himself.
Why?
I think It's not completely explained.
It's a Kojima game. What do you expect?
Liquid's voice at the end of 2, but then goes back to Ocelot's voice in 4, but still should be Liquid's personality. Oh,
just stop before. Stop before your mind melt.
The two will eventually clash at the top of a large tanker, with each phase and theme representing their shared past history.
Thank you.
Oh, you can even press select during this for images to appear showing said history, or just have Ocelot kiss you at some point.
Okay, please don't.
This fight has some crazy Easter eggs. As
again, well, you're solid for you, buddy.
You feel each impact within yourself, and when Snake stands as the final victor, you stand with him as a proud soldier. Okay, so why was it Ocelot and not Sam or Armstrong when those fights are more action-packed? Well,
less involvement?
That's why Jack was number 2. Those fights only had one game to show the personal stakes. Ocelot had a whole series and then some. I'm Josh Scorcher, and next time the bosses may be a little transparent.
Wait, transparent? Ghost?
Okay, let's just say the next list will be personal, but more for the player than the characters. Okay? Okay, bye. Okay.
So, reflections are for the players. So is it like a stereotype bosses? I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what he's got, but guess we're gonna have to wait and see. What do you guys think? You got any ideas what it could be? Let me know. Till then, thanks for watching, and hopefully this time it's a little better. Adios. And I know I already did this one.